Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today is going to be another trying to fix video, another video where I try to take apart things that are faulty and do my best to fix them. So here we have a huge amount of Sony Walkmans. These are little personal stereos that you used to carry around many years ago to listen to your favourite tapes with your headphones plugged in. So I used to listen to these a lot when I was younger because I used to have a paper round and I used to run around doing my evening paper round. I think it was on Thursdays and Fridays. I used to do about 3 roads and I used to listen to my Monkeys tape. That was my favourite band back then. So what I did is I bought a load of these off eBay and they're all faulty. So let me show you what I paid for them and then show you the little note that came with it. Now I'm not going to do all these in one video because obviously there's 8 of them and it's going to take quite a while. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do them in 8 separate videos, and that way some of them might only be like 10 or 15 minute fixes, others might be an hour or longer depending on what's wrong with them. Now I've gone to just put batteries on each of them, and basically some of these look pretty good. I'm sure some of these would have been quite expensive when they were new. I mean, check out that one. And the very basic ones are just for playing tapes, but a lot of them do play the radio as well. So going across them, the radio seems to work on all of them apart from this one here, on all the ones that have radio. So with this one it seems to be completely dead. So this is probably going to be the worst one because I can't get it. It lights up and stuff. In fact, you can see the time there. That stayed on there quite a while because I took those batteries out about 10 minutes ago and yet it's still showing the actually, sorry, 26 minutes ago because it would have been started at 12. So, I don't know, there must be some little rechargeable battery in there or something. The capacitors wouldn't last that long, would they? Well, anyway, this one here doesn't do the radio, doesn't play, doesn't do anything. But most of them, one of them plays but very slowly. This one, you can hear it's trying to play, but there's nothing happening. But most of them, I've got a feeling might be just the rubber bands at fault, because in here, from memory, when I took them apart when I was a child, there would be a motor and then there would be a series of kind of like other cogs and stuff that the rubber band would run around. So what I've done is I've actually bought a pack of rubber bands. So hopefully, if I've bought a pack with loads of different sizes, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get one size to fit. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with this one here. I'll show you in a minute. It sounds like there's power in it when you press play. There's like noise in the headphones, but yet these aren't moving at all. So I'm hoping this might be just a snap band. Now they're all Walkmans apart from this one here, which is a cassette recorder. And I think this is kind of some sort of like dictaphone type thing. It's got a microphone and it's got a speaker built into it. The problem with this one is it's really, really quiet. And when you plug the headphones in completely, they don't work. When you plug them in a little bit, they work a little bit through the headphones and a little bit through the speaker, but it's very quiet. And I had a quick mess around by just trying to record something and it didn't seem to record. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through each of them, and then what I'll do is in the title I will put down the model number, because each of these have a model number. So for example, the one I'm going to start with is this one here, WM-2011. Now the reason I got these is because I thought they'd be a nice mix between electrical and mechanical, because obviously there's going to be components in here, but at the same time all these things here are going to work off springs and, you know, like pulleys and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that the inside of them is going to be quite interesting. So basically I paid, it says here, 8 times vintage Sony Walkmans, all faulty, sold as seen, see listing for details. I paid £35 and I had to pay £7.95 postage, so £42.95 in total. Now I haven't got my calculator on me, but there is 8 of them, so it's looking like I'm paying, what would that be, £5.36 or £5.37, whatever that works out to be. So not too bad if I can get some of them working. Now it does say here 8 times vintage Sony Walkmans. This is what was in with them. It says please note that these are sold on a spares or repair basis, and they all have faults like possible belt or other, and will show age marks on most as per listing details. Whilst every effort has been taken to list all my items accurately, where items are known to have issues, they are simply listed as for spares or repair. Individual faults on each would require these to be taken apart to inspect them otherwise. These were all purchased some time back and I simply do not have the time to go through a lot of these. I have here, hence they are being sold to clear space along with a few more to be listed shortly. So obviously whoever got these were, you know, they must have been into fixing them. But from the little bit of testing that I've done, they seem genuine. they do seem, obviously when I take it apart I might find that loads of things are missing, but I don't think so. I think that these were all brought in, probably never got around to fixing them, and now someone like me's come along, bought them, and I'm going to do my best. Annoyingly, I can't find any tapes in my house. I thought I would have had some somewhere, but I haven't, because obviously many years have gone by since I've used them. But I have got one tape here. This is one that I got in my 1984 Panasonic boombox. It actually came in it, and yeah, on it there is no music. It's kind of like some kind of like play, talking drama, something like that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll plug it in there and get it to work now, so you lot can hear it. I've got a little speaker and a 3.5mm jack. So let's get set up and I'll show you this one not working, and then all the others will be on a separate video. Right, so let's pop the batteries in. Now, because these things are Sony, they all seem like they're pretty well made. Sony did and still do make, in my opinion, a lot of quality products. So, as well, because these things were mass produced, they could be, you know, they could be affordable and still good quality. So if you look now, if I press play, can you see that it's not, it holds down but there's nothing going round. Now I know you can't hear it, but when I plug this into here, you will hear that it sounds like that there is power in it. Let's plug that into the headphone jack. So I'm thinking that this might be just a belt problem, which would be nice. Just turn this on. Right, so listen here. See? Hear that? So that sounds to me as if it wants to work. Volume. It sounds like there's power going into it, but yet it's just not turning. So let's take this thing apart and see what's wrong with it. Now looking at it, I'm not sure where the screws are. I'm thinking maybe they just clip together. Let's take the batteries out for the time being. It's a little belt clip so you can look good when you're doing your paper rounds. Right, now, interestingly, there looks like there's a little wheel there. I wonder if that's so somebody servicing it, you know, somebody trying to fix it can see whether it's moving or not easily. I don't know, it's weird to have a little cutout for the gear. Another cogs there. Right, I can't see any obvious screws in here. So I'm thinking it must just pull. I don't know how the thing comes apart. Does it just push together and come apart? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some tools, and can you see here when I do this it looks like it wants to come apart between here and here. I'm going to get a tool and try to pry it open in there, and hopefully I don't damage it. That's the model number in case you're interested. Okay, so I've got a pry tool to pry open, and these are all the rubber bands that I've got, so I'm hoping all these different sizes, one of them will fit. Okay, yeah, it's definitely unclipping, so it just clips together. I'm hoping when I get it open that it doesn't just spring apart. Got to be careful. There we go. Right. There we go. Okay. Ah, look. Can you see this? Oh god, look at that, it's gone like, the rubber's just gone, yeah, it's just gone gooey. So it looks like there's two rubber bands, one down low and then one up high. So this is the motor here. So I bet if we put this in, this looks a bit damaged now, I wonder if I've dented that. If we put this in, so that's minus, I bet you we'll see that motor moving round. There you go, moving round. There, can you see? Well, it did for a second. I don't know if I've got a good connection here. Zoom in a bit. Well, it spins for a minute. I don't know why it doesn't keep on doing it. Not sure. But then again, I haven't exactly got a good connection here, have I? So we don't actually have to worry about that. We just have to get a rubber band now to go round here. Thing is though, I'm not 100% sure how tight it should be. But look at that old one. There you go. So that's the old one there. So maybe if I get all the bits off the old one. Oh look, I've broken a little bit of plastic. That's the problem when things clip together. Do you know, I think it's just going to be trial and error getting the right length. I'm thinking now, this one here, oh, there you go, this one snapped as well. I wonder, is there definitely two? I suppose there has to be two bands, isn't there? One for the top and one for the bottom, yeah. I need to get some tweezers to pull it out. So over the years it's obviously just degraded, broken down. Now, I know nothing about Walkmans. For all I know, there could be a massive community out there with all different websites saying how to fix them and the different lengths you need and stuff. I haven't actually ever had a look. Now while I'm here, I'm just going to clean the rubber off here using a bit of IPA because it's all very sticky and I want to clean it up around here. Also I need to take that bit off this gear here as well. There you go. Right, I'm going to clean them up. Right, so the inside of this one is not lovely, but then again, this is probably one of the cheaper ones. If you have a look, there's a lot of plastic. But to be fair, it looks like it's all in place. So if we can get it working again, I'm not sure about the date of this. What I'll do is, at the end of the video, I'll type in that number into Google and then it might be able to give me the exact date that this was produced. So it looks like you could power it from a DC input as well, so you didn't have to rely on batteries if you were already at home. Yeah, okay. Right, let's try to find a band that will fit it. Now I'm thinking it doesn't want to be tight. There you go, I reckon that one would do that one. Mind you, all these things here are in the way. And so I have to lift it up and put it underneath. I must have to lift up this little bit of spring. Like that. Right, now I need to make sure it's straight. Well, that one might do there. I wonder would they use the same one on both of them? No, so that's going to have to be a lot smaller. No, this might be my problem. I don't know if I've got tiny ones. That might do. That feels quite tight though. I'm not sure how many duplicates there are in this bag. Probably most of them are just duplicates. Yeah, this might be the one. No, too loose. Good thing is, things like these you can pick up from eBay for like just a few pounds. Yeah, I think most of them are the same. So maybe it's not that critical. I suppose I'll know when I start playing it whether, if it sounds slow, if it's too tight it's going to be slow, isn't it? Yeah, they're all the same size. Right, I think we're going to give that a go and see what happens. So let's try to put this back together. Sorry, I don't know if I showed you that. So you can just see that I've put one down the bottom here and one round the top. So when this moves, it's going to move both of them. And I've just had to unhook this thing here, this sort of spring, to put the band underneath it. Do you know what I'm thinking? That band's too loose, isn't it? Yeah, that band's too loose. I'm going to change that one. They don't seem very twisted. Maybe it untwists itself as it starts playing anyway. Well, I'm not sure where that broken clip came out of, but it's well held in place there anyway. Right, let's pop the batteries in and see if we're successful. No, we're not. Oh, I was sure it was going to be the rubber bands. No, look. It's not spinning. Ah. Well, you know what could have happened is it could have been faulty for ages, and then because it's been left, the rubber has since perished. But no, this is exactly the same as it was before. Okay, well it's definitely not going to be a really easy fix anyway. So let's pop it open again and see if we can work out why, because when you go to play it, do you remember it looks like the motor's spinning but only for about a second before it cuts off. Okay, so I took off the other side this time. Right, so why is it not playing? So I suppose I'll have to see whether power's getting to the motor or not. Let's see if I can just take this out completely. I had the other side off a minute ago, didn't I? There we go. Perfect. Right, okay, so now I should be able to find out what's what. There you go, you can see the remains of the rubber band down here. That's where the motor was. Okay, I'm going to press play. I need to get a power supply up to this. I'm going to get my multimeter. I'm going to put it onto DC volts. Now let's see if we have anything on this motor when we go to press play. Yeah, we do. Oh, did you see that? It started to go round there for a second. And again, is it when I put this on it here? Yeah, look, 2 volts. Now it's going. But look, when I take this off, it's not. Right, does that mean that this motor is getting power from my actual multimeter itself? Or is it just when I do that? Weird. Hope you can hear that. So it's playing when I do that, and my multimeter is saying 1.8 volts. Oh, now it's going, look. Then it stops. Right, it's definitely when I touch the lead, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the batteries out just to see, is it the leads here that's actually giving it voltage? No, it's not. Why, when I go across here with my multimeter, is it making it work? Alright, okay, that is a strange one. Let's try swapping it around the other way. Yeah, look, just with one lead. Yeah. Right, let's try this one. Or that one. What is going on? Let's see if it fast forwards. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But nothing without it. That is weird. Could it be... No, I don't know. I was going to say an earth thing, but this thing isn't earthed, is it? What on earth is going on? Again, this is one of those opportunities where everybody's screaming at the screen. But remember that I don't know what's going on here. And I'm sure there's quite a few viewers that don't know either. Right, let's turn this on, see if we can hear anything. Why has that done that? Turn it off and on again. Trying to get my speaker to work. I can hear it now. Can you hear that? Maybe there's nothing on this part of the tape.
Good luck to you. Oh, is that a problem, Carol?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
I do know about your association.
Hold on.
I can't bring myself to think that it was even a friendship.
Let's try doing it to this one. It did sound fine. Now it's too quick.
No, it's all right. Really, I feel absolutely detached from him. Well, what do you think? Are my proposals worth considering? Those just greedy guts. Don't think it's going to go on forever.
Yeah, it's too quick. It's too quick, but that could be my... That could be those rubber bands. Right, so that's that one. Let's try rewinding it. Why? I still don't understand why when I touch it here, it's making it work. I mean, that is rewinding quite fast, isn't it? Oh, it could be where it is in here. Right, okay. Well, let's not worry about the speed of it at the moment, because that could be the rubber bands, or it could be the placement of the tape in here. But let's worry about the fact, we don't even need the speaker. Let's worry about the fact that it doesn't work unless I press one of these things here. And that doesn't make sense to me unless it's creating some extra resistance, which is then making it work. Ah, no, look. It's working with my finger. So maybe it's just a weight thing. Let's just use a bit of plastic. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. Right, so by me leaning on the leads, it had nothing to do with any resistance or anything. I was just creating pressure. Look. So there's obviously something that when I press down here, it's making it work. And it's not, I don't think it's the lead, because if I go onto this red one here, let's use plastic so I don't want to short it out. When I go onto the red one, it works, but also when I do the white one, it works. See? So it's something to do with the board itself. Interesting. Yes, I'm getting somewhere. I'm liking this one. See, although it's a cheap one, to me it's the satisfaction of trying to find out what's wrong with it. And you know, this could be £200 and it still might not give me as much pleasure as fixing this, which is costing whatever it is, £5 something, and even when it's working it might only be worth £10, if that. I haven't got a clue. It might not even be worth what I paid for it, but it's just the sort of excitement of knowing what's wrong with it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push down in different places. So you see, that's not doing anything. That's not doing anything. But up here is. So there's something up here in this corner here which is making the contact. Look. Look, you can see it going around. Right, so let's now pop the batteries out and take the cover out, and we might see maybe this was dropped. So it's in this corner here, isn't it? This corner here. When I do this, it starts working. Is it something to do with the motor? Is it that chip there where when I bend it, that is making a connection? What is it? I mean, that's designed to be away from it there. That isn't even soldered. That's not even needed to be soldered on, is it? That's away from it. No, this is just a cover. So that's not it. When I bend it, what's bending? Right, why is there solder around this bit here? Why is there blobs of solder here? What's that doing? Why is there solder along there? Right, so basically when I do this it starts working and it doesn't need to flex much at all. But look, when I press it here, can you see it's flexing from around here? Well, I don't know. I can see a little bit of corrosion in here as well. Oh, but that's right, that's coming straight off. But what is causing that there to not make the connection? Is it the wires on the actual motor? No, I don't think so. Well, I'll tell you what, let's undo that and then that will tell us, won't it? Because it could be a bad connection with those wires going into the motor. Let's pop the batteries back in again. Play. No. Right, so it's not, it doesn't seem to be up the top here, it seems to be more related to... Hold on. When I hold that down, look, that's not working now. So when I already put pressure there, it's not... It's working. Something down in this little bit here, I think. See, none of the pads look like they're lifting. None of those solder joints look like they're lifting up. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, I've just snapped the board. Oh, I don't believe that. How annoying is that? Right. Oh. I wonder will it still work without that corner if I can... I wonder if it's got anything to do with the rubber band, whether when I'm doing it I'm taking the pressure off it or something. Maybe it's too tight, you see. Let's take this rubber band off and see if we can see this move. I can still hear it kicking in and out. Oh, you know, when I was touching it there I thought I'd work it out straight away, but I'm not getting any closer yet. Bit by bit I'm making it worse. Right, so it's snapped by that capacitor, so I have to find out what's going on. I might be able to do some sort of jumper wire across. Don't really know where that goes to. Let's get my continuity tester on it. Okay, so that's all ground, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So I might be okay even with this circuit board out of it. Or in theory I could just put a jumper wire between here and here and that's going to act the same as the board. I'm not quite sure again why we have all this solder in the corner of the board here. I don't know what purpose that serves. Ah, look, could this be it? I mean, this might have been me mucking around with it, but look here. Look really, really closely here, and you will see that there's a hairline crack going through here. You ready? Let's focus in. Here we go now, ready? There. Can you see it coming apart? You can just see daylight through it just here. I bet you that's where the problem is. So I think in the past this has been dropped, and when I'm putting pressure on it, it's making the connection and then breaking the connection. That's gonna, yeah, definitely it, because look, because that's the thing that's doing the track too. It's hard to see because this plastic thing's in the way, but if you ignore this plastic thing, can you see the track coming down from here, goes across here, and it goes to here? So obviously the red wire is not going to get a contact when that's broken like that, and that's why every time I pressed here it was working. So in theory all I've got to do is trace the wire from, is it here to here, and that should join up that one. I just need to find out which one this is. It looks like we've got 1, 2, it looks like there's 3 of them joined together, and one looks like it's a load of earth anyway. That one there. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my continuity, and I'm just going to be working through here to find out where it goes, because maybe I can just jumper it all. If I could just use a fiberglass pen and brush away the contacts here and use a tiny bit of jumper wire just to solder up instead of going all the way across the board. I wonder would that be easier or not. So it looks like the earth's intact, probably because the earth's going from a different direction. I think for me the fiberglass pen would probably be the easiest thing to do, because if I'm honest with you, I'm finding it hard to trace where the track goes. I lose it when it gets up to here because there's a kind of black circular thing, and I don't know whether it goes to these ones or whether it goes somewhere else. I'm not sure whether this is a coating over the top of it or not. I don't really want to get involved with it taking it all apart. I've got that exposed, I'm going to clean it with IPA, and then what I can do is I can touch it on here, the continuity tester from here, and go onto the different components, because it would be a lot easier for me to solder a little jumper wire from the component rather than on the track anyway. Well, I think it would be. Maybe the most sensible thing to do would be just to use a tiny little bit of jumper wire and then go from straight across the crack, because it looks like there's quite a bit of play in this anyway. I think this is just a little latch to stop it, you know, to give it a little bit of resistance. I think that's maybe what I'll try and do. Right, let me get a soldering iron set up. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do to begin with is I'm going to try a few things. I'm going to try to put a little bit of flux on these 3 lines here, and then I'm going to try to add solder to it to basically see if I can sort of put a lump of solder over it. But then I'm also going to add solder to the outer bits, and what I'd like to do is I would like to put a tiny bit of jumper wire in between the two. So this is basically telephone wire, so it's 0.5 millimeters in diameter, so it's going to be plenty thick enough you know, to allow all the current through. I think that's what I'm going to try to do. I don't know how it's going to go, but I won't know until I start doing it. Unfortunately, this is quite fine here. It'd be different if I was really used to this, but this is quite a fine one to be, you know, trying to practice on. But I'm hoping, because I've cleaned it there now, I'm hoping that this is going to stick. I'm hoping the solder will want to stick to the traces rather than clumping up against each other. Trying to get rid of this bit here, it's in my way, I don't want to break it. Right, I think I should try on the top one first because that's the kind of least critical one. Right, my soldering iron's at 300 degrees. I've got quite a big tip on it in relation to here, but let's just see what happens to begin with. Let's just melt that off. Right, as long as I cover the whole area in solder, as long as it doesn't bridge between, I'll be quite happy. Right, well, it's definitely getting tinned there, isn't it? Right, okay. So that's that there now. So if I add a bit more solder to here, that's good. That's a nice big lump there. Now let's try to add a bit to here. No, see, I've bridged that now, so that's no good. Now let's go up to this bit here. So I might, on this top one, I might be able to go straight on to this bit that's sticking through from the motor mount thing. There you go. So that top one should be okay. So I've got a problem here where they're bridged, so let's see if I can remove that bridge. Because I've got too much solder. There you go. Right, so that's removed. So now I have to try and get it down onto this bit in the corner without burning this plastic. I might not have taken enough away there. I'm just going to clean my soldering iron. Right, well, I've definitely added solder to that area. Kind of forgotten exactly where the break is. I think it was from that down. Got to be careful because this plastic thing will break really easy. Let me get a little bit of jumper wire and see if I can kind of make it go in the same position as that trace. It's very hard because it's so small. I know it looks big in the camera. Especially when you've got obstacles in the way as well. And when you're not very good at soldering. If I can get a dot of solder on there, then that might be able to join that one up. Let's see. Well, I think that one has soldered. I just can't really see what's going on underneath it. Not sure if I've gone onto the track underneath it or not. No, I've just broken it off. But that's okay because I can now lift it up to see what's happening underneath. I'm not happy with that, there's too much solder there. There we go, that's better. Right, okay. Right, I think I'm happy with that one. I'm going to use the macro feature for this one now. Okay, so you can see what I've done here. You can see that the break is somewhere along sort of this area here. I'm not exactly sure where. So for this one here, I've just put a big blob of solder going from this side all the way up to there. This one, I've got this little wire going from there to just that tiny little trace there. I don't think it's bridged to there. I think I'm okay. So now I have to get a wire from here to here, and hopefully afterwards this thing will just pop back down here. And I'm thinking that it will be okay, because it doesn't. I think it just kind of allows a little bit of flex. I don't think that this thing moves up and down or anything. I could be wrong. If it does need to move around, then I'm going to be in trouble, but I think it's just to give it a little bit of flex. So I now need to get a wire between here and this bit here, and it looks like this one here is clear, so I should be okay. I think that's in the right place. So I'm just going to move this around so I can actually solder it. I lost it. See, this plastic thing's really in my way. Just want to get one end soldered on, and then I can worry about the other ends. No, it's straight off again. Let's try that again. But now I have to try and get that onto there. Right, I know that looks a mess, but that might do. I don't think I've shorted between them. Don't think I have anyway. Let's pop this back in its normal position. See, yeah, that still allows flex there. That might do. I think I'm going to clean it with some IPA and then put some Captain tape over it. While I'm here, I'm just going to try to repair this a little bit as well. So I'm just going to basically add a little bit of solder up into here, because from memory this is all together anyway. Okay, so that's that top bit soldered around there, it goes round here, soldered onto there, and soldered onto the capacitor, and then all those other bits soldered under there. So I'm going to clean this up now with a bit of IPA, and then we'll have to see whether it's fixed it or not, whether I've got shorts and stuff, I don't know yet. Well, there's certainly continuity between the cracks now, so hopefully that might have fixed it. Right, let's pop it back together and see if we get any life out of it. Right, okay, oh, I need to put this back in its home. There we go. Okay, well it's certainly spinning now. So let's put a tape in and see what happens. Turn on the speaker.
The system.
Greedy guts.
Perfect.
I don't think it's going to go on forever. As the days get longer, the kids will be up earlier and earlier.
Oh, you've got...
Right, that's the end, so let's rewind it.
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
That sounds
Go on,
perfect.
have another piece of toast.
Let's put in the other side. Oops, hold on. That doesn't sound right. 1 second. That's weird, it doesn't want to go in that side. No, it doesn't want to go in either side. 1 second. Oh, there we go. Why is it not dropping into place?
Oh, go on.
Excellent. Right, well, first impressions are that it seems to be doing what it's supposed to do. So let's pop this back together now. And, oh actually I've got to put captain tape over here, haven't I? Just to keep it a little bit secure. And then put it back together. I think this is going to be a worker. Okay, so that's the captain tape on it. So obviously it looks a mess. I don't know the best way to solder up small joins like that. I suppose if it was bigger you could possibly use some copper tape and then solder between the copper tape and the other side there. But I think on a small one like that, I'm not sure the best way to do it. But once the cover's on, if it's strong and secure, which I think it's going to be, I'm hoping that this will continue to work. Not that anybody's really going to be playing it, but I would like it to be a lasting repair if possible. Obviously, if you know better ways to do this, then please add it to the comments down below, because like I say in all these videos, obviously I am not an expert at this, and this is the first time I think it's the first time I've had to repair a crack in a board. So maybe there's a really obvious way of doing it, but to me I thought that this was possibly the best one to use in this circumstance. But if you've got better ways, of course, add them down below and you'll help everybody else watching this video. Right, okay, so I'm missing a couple of tiny little tabs here, but unfortunately that's the problem when things snap together. They're not really made to be taken apart over and over again. So if I was to take this apart a few more times now, chances are I'm going to start to struggle to get it back together. Right, okay, so this is it. Let's plug the speaker in. There we go. Right, let's put it onto the other side, otherwise I'm going to end up getting some kind of strike for copyright.
Just you and me for a change. Planning the day. Talking before we get too tired.
That sounds perfect.
Volume. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Oh, go on, have another piece of toast. I'll let you.
Oh, what a good team.
Oh, look at that, I haven't seen that in ages. You see it says normal and CRO2 metal, because some of the tapes years ago, I think the sort of more modern tapes, used to have metal around them. I never really understood what that was for. So maybe, obviously it must provide some kind of different sound quality.
itself, did it? Started.
Yeah.
Of course. Only if I'm not.
That's all working. Is there anything else to test? I can't test the jack because I haven't got the right power supply for it, but that appears to be a success. Looks like I'm at the end of the tape. Let's just see if it turns off. Okay, so it's not going anymore. Maybe this hasn't got one of those auto shut-offs. I can't remember if they should stop automatically when they get to the end. But we're at the end there, so let's turn it over. You can see the tape's gone from brown to clear. Right, let's fast forward that this way. From memory, that's something I taped off the radio on a different video. Might not be anything on this side. Yeah, there mustn't be anything else on it. So quite a basic one because it hasn't got that auto reverse where you can, you know, press it in and then it will start playing the other way. So to turn it round, I have to physically turn the tape over.
Compromise, but so where do we fit in? Well,
excellent. So it looks like those rubber bands are not critical then. Again, this is a learning curve because although I would have taken these apart when I was a kid, I wouldn't have ever replaced the bands or anything on them. I suppose back then the bands wouldn't have really been old enough to fail if the thing was only a year or two old. I'm just going to pop my headphones in just to make sure that it's working through the headphones. Yeah, that's fine, so let's put the volume up.
I think it sounds a terrific idea.
There you go. Right, okay, what a lovely fix. Really happy with that one there. I didn't think it was going to be as interesting as it was, so it was really bugging me why every time I tapped it, to begin with I thought it was something to do with my multimeter, like adding resistance or something to it. But it turns out there was a hairline crack in the board. A little bit annoying that I managed to snap that part off the board before I seen the hairline crack, but lucky for me it was a non-critical part of the board because it was just basically like the ground going round anyway. So if that was on a modern board, obviously it could have been multi-layered or it could have had components on the other side as well, then I would have been stuffed. But on this, in this instance here, I was very lucky and there was nothing else to break when I did that. So yeah, it's something new to learn now. So I didn't really think that a break in the board, I didn't really think a board could break that fine. I can understand if it could snap completely, but that really was just a nice fine break. So I'm thinking this would have had a drop at some stage. So little things like that will help me fix the other 7 of them now, because now I know that if it's a similar problem that possibly there could be a hairline break. So yeah, really happy with that one there, and I'm looking forward to doing the other 7. Now obviously if you're not into Walkmans you might find these next 7 videos boring. Personally it's not that I'm massively into Walkmans, not at all. It's just I like trying to fix anything, and I think the good thing about these is I don't think they've been taken apart before and messed around with, and I'm going to look forward to doing slightly more complicated ones like this, because then for example on one of them where the radio doesn't work there could be multiple faults on it. One of them looks like it's had kind of, if you look at this one here, it looks like it's got sort of a bit of corrosion here, not corrosion but dirt and stuff, so maybe juice or something fell in it at one stage. So I'm looking forward to going through them because I think every single one is going to be, it's probably unlikely that another one's going to have a cracked circuit board. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more that have the bad you know, stretched rubber bands and stuff. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be interesting. But obviously, if it's not your cup of tea, then it's fine because I'm going to put in the title what they are, and then you can choose whether to watch it or not. So although you might never take a Walkman apart yourself, I still think that there's things to learn just by fault finding on this, because it could be anything. It doesn't have to be the Walkman. These skills can be taken to fix absolutely anything. So I'm looking forward to doing the others. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more trying to fix videos. Take care. Bye now.